Here now is Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells with Talk to Tom. Sponsored by Greenway Dodge.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talk to Tom. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells. A little different angle today. Looking a little groovy, showing off more of the newsroom. Hey, man, Talk to Tom was made special by you, the viewer at home, who asked me questions about anything you want to know about. The question I get asked more often than anything, even more often than is it going to rain, is how is Danny Treanor? And today on Talk to Tom, we're going to answer that question. Please welcome to the newsroom, the man, the myth, the legend, the king of all media, Danny Treanor. Danny, pump fist on that. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, Tom.
It is so good to see you, man.
Well, we haven't seen each other in several months, and what people don't know is we've been friends for 15, 20 years, and...
I can tell you when. You know how most people know, they can tell you how they met their wife or how they fell in love with their significant other. I can tell you the moment I fell in love with Danny Treanor. Can I tell the story first? Can I go first?
Yeah.
It's my show. Let me go.
Sure.
Okay, so a long time ago, I moved to town, and the first thing people would say to me back in 2000 was, "Oh my gosh, you're new. Oh my gosh, you're working with Pamela Brady." I am. I love Pamela Brady. Hey, man, do you know Danny Treanor? And I'm like, never heard of him. So then a story about you, and I came to hear about the legend of Danny Treanor, and then a story about you came out in the what used to be the newspaper. There was a thing called a newspaper.
Right.
The people used to go on their porch.
Yeah.
I got that too. And so I would open the newspaper, there's Danny Treanor. And so I started reading the story, and I saw that you did some real estate, called my realtor, got your number, called you, left you a message. You called me back.
I did.
We met for barbecue, and we talked for 6 hours.
What was
Well,
it?
maybe 3.
You asked me if I knew who you were.
Well, yeah, because I was new in town.
Right.
Do you have any idea who I am?
Yep. And what did
you
I say?
said, "Yeah, I've seen you on TV. You stole my act."
Right. But I also said one other line, and you're doing it better than I did.
Oh, thanks.
I did.
Thanks.
And you still do.
So, stop. For those 3 hours at Bubbaloo's Barbecue, I fell in love with Danny Treanor. You were so charming, so funny, so cool, and so welcoming, and it was awesome for me.
These are all past tense.
Yeah, now that I know
Was.
you know
He was.
Okay, well, let's talk about you, because people know about you. You're retired. You've been off
Right.
the air here. You wrapped up your career here with me.
About 4 years ago.
Has it been 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I know it's pre-COVID, and COVID whacked out everything. But wow, 4 years you've been gone off the air. Okay, so tell us, what are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, I retired. I didn't know how to retire. That was the biggest problem. I've talked to some people about this before. If you ask a lady to tell you about herself, quite often she'll tell you about her children. If you ask a man about himself, he'll start talking about his job.
Correct.
So I was that kind of person. I defined myself by my job. I thought, as long as I'm working, I'm important, or I am somebody. I have identity. And I didn't know how not to work, and I was afraid not to work because I was afraid I'd be forgotten, or I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And
Fill the void.
And what happened was I went on a trip with our church group to Israel and discovered I like traveling.
Okay, we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back because I know you.
But
do,
I mean, the
you
travel
have
was
replaced
the
a
door
lot.
that opened
Everything else.
opened up everything.
Okay, well,
else.
let's not get ever. So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
How did Danny Treanor become a weather guy?
Well, by default. Again, it is, you got to go back a lot of time. Let's go back to about 1963. 1963, I was in radio for about 4 or 5 years first. And the college that I was going to was a junior college, and I ran out of college, so I had to go somewhere. So I decided to go. I was living in Pensacola, Florida, and I decided to go to Mobile because they had a 4-year college over there.
University of South Alabama.
University of South Alabama.
Yep.
And I didn't have a job, and I was trying to get a job in radio, and there wasn't a job available. And so a friend of mine said, well, try this audition at this TV station. And I got the job, but it was, I didn't get on the first audition. I had to go back and do a second audition. But what happened was I got into that market, and then across the street, a guy I'd gone to high school with named Russ Minshew, who did meteorology at WSB for years. He was over there. He and I had graduated from high school together.
Wow.
He was leaving. He suggested me to take his place.
And so I stepped into weather?
Right. Well, no, we stepped into doing dialing for dollars.
I did cash call. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You take the ugliest, worst movie that nobody would pay 25 cents to go see, but you promise to give them money if they'll stick around long enough to watch it. Then that's called dialing for dollars. And of course, I had to tell you the count and the amount. But the guy that was doing the weather at that time was a guy by the name of Wayne Perky, my idol, who was in Louisville, Kentucky, for a legend in the radio business there. He was doing weather. He left the station I was working for, WALA TV, Channel 10 in Mobile, and he left, and I went to the front office. I said, "Can I do that?" And they went, "Can you?" Try.
Those are the days. What year was that?
That would have been about 1968.
68.
Right.
Like the golden ages of TV, for real.
It was the golden age.
Right, well,
we could do anything we wanted to do because there were really no boundaries as to what was going on. Television was in its infancy, especially local television. I wore the same light blue colored jacket for 3 years, every day for 3 years without cleaning it, because you don't have smell-o-vision.
And no one said a word?
No one said a word.
Wow.
Engineers were happy because it was pale blue. But
didn't have to balance the chroma.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of this stuff is inside stuff. That the time, but what we were talking about earlier was a thing called a teletype machine. This is a typewriter hooked up to an international cabal.
Right.
I don't know.
AP.
Yeah, that typed out news information all day long, and that's how we got our weather.
You ripped it right off the wire.
Ripped it off the
wire. It's called a
wire.
rip and reader. You rip it, look at the forecast.
Then you go and you
present it.
build your map and all that sort of stuff. But I made it my job very early in the business, since I did not have any technical background in meteorology.
Right.
That what I was going to do is I was going to make fast friends with the guys at the National Weather Service, and I used to go out there with gifts, and with some of these gifts were liquid. Presents.
I follow.
And make sure that I always had access to them, their knowledge, their abilities, and I figured my job was this: take all that barometers, anemometers, pressures, all that, because people really only want to know one thing: is it going to be hot? How hot? Is it going to be cold? How cold? Is it going to rain? About what time? That's it. The rest of it is minutia. There's a better word, but minutia. And
So
my
still
job
the late
was
60s.
to go to the
68?
experts.
In 68, 69 is when you started?
68, 69, all the way to 78.
So you're describing weather the way it used to be.
Right.
Everyone now in my weather staff, all of us, went to college for meteorology.
Right.
We have degrees. We have seals of approval. All of them are graduates from fine universities, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But back then, you didn't have to do that. So the teletype machine was your friend, and your local NWS office was your friend.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And so you, in order to be, legitimate and authoritative, you had to go get the information from them. My job was to take what they said and turn it into words that people could understand.
I get that. Right. Take the important and make it interesting. So let me ask you just one more question. What, out of all the years you were on air here in Orlando, what's your favorite memory? Do you have one that stands out? One storm, one hurricane, one blown forecast, one big memory that comes to you?
The first year we were here, we had a hurricane named David that came through, and we were the number 3 group, and there was a wonderful guy, Dave Marsh. It was on Channel 2.
Yep, one of our opponent stations. Yeah.
Right.
I competed against David too.
Yeah, and Dave was solid. I mean, he was the man here because he'd been here forever, and everybody knew him and all that
Even
sort of
in
stuff.
78, he'd been here forever?
Yes, yeah.
Because I didn't come along in 2000, and he'd been here forever. But go ahead.
And so what happened was, within a year, though, with Hurricane David, we got enough exposure that I had as much credibility as he did.
And so that big turnaround year is your best memory?
1 year.
That's an awesome memory, but you killed it. You killed it. I mean, when I got here in 2000, that was the third question. Oh, you're new. Oh, you're with Pamela. Oh, do you know Danny?
Yeah.
And with that said, we're going to take
He
a
was
break.
fortunately he didn't at that point.
Oh, that's not true. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back in the second half of Talk to Tom. We're going to ask Danny about Orlando and the now and what he's up to. Stay with us. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of Talk to Tom. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells. Thank you so much for being here. You can watch us all the time on News 6 Plus, 24/7. We stream it all the time. You can go click on it, select it, boom, watch it, or you can see us here every Thursday on Talk to Tom. Joining me today is my man, Danny Treanor, the king of all media, superstar extraordinaire. I don't know what else to call you. Dominator of weather in this market for 3 decades. What a guy, what a dude, what a man. And good buddy of mine who became a baker.
Yeah,
And brought me a muffin today. It's one of the things that I don't share with people often is that one of the reasons I loved having Danny on the team was that he would come in and bring me brownies.
Yeah.
He figured out that even if I was on a weight loss journey, which I'm on all the time, I've lost about 900 pounds.
I found some of it. It
and
was
gained
over here.
and gained about 899. And so I've lost maybe a pound in the last 20 years.
Right.
And the reason being, Danny always brought me brownies. Danny finished out his career here at the powerful KMG with me. How long were you the weekend guy? Do you remember?
I was here at KMG for 4 years.
Only 4?
4.
Seemed longer.
It seemed long.
It seemed longer. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But truth is, you were able to say goodbye. Again, you retired a couple of times. You retired
Right.
the last time with us. You retired off the air.
Right.
And when you said goodbye on your final night here on News 6, on that final night, you gave me a big shout out, but you also gave a big shout out to J Bro, our friend Julie Broughton.
Yes.
And I'm great friends with Danny, and pretty good friends with Julie, but you're great friends with Julie too.
Right.
What makes you two such tight friends? What is it?
The simple fact that we accept each other as they are, there's no pretense. A lot of people think Julie's, well, no, and she's the most down-to-earth person I know, and she speaks her mind, and she sometimes doesn't have a filter, which I love, and she calls me her, her pet old man, and. You know about that, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, because we used to. She said she's going to come and make sure that I have plenty to eat when I'm on when I'm in hospice.
I think you're going to outlive us both, is
Yeah.
my thought.
Well, anyway, but no, Julie and I worked together at another facility.
Correct.
And we worked.
You
together.
became tight there.
Yeah,
and
very
that was part of
tight.
the reason you were able to come over here.
Right.
I went to your first retirement party from that other place, and that night you said to me, "I've got a 6-month no compete. Can I come work with you?" And I was like, "Let me see what I can do, brother."
Yeah.
And we made it happen.
The,
We made it happen.
well,
And a lot of that's thanks to Julie. That same
yeah.
vibe.
I started working at another place back in 1978, and I worked there for 18 years, and a lot of things changed in that time period. A lot of things in the Orlando area.
The whole city changed.
Yeah, the biggest high-rise was a building called the CNA building, and that's where the Citrus Club is.
Been there?
Yeah. That's the only high-rise we had, and we had, the bus station was downtown next to I-4. We had, Church Street was here. My buddy Bob Snow built all that up in Pensacola and then brought the idea down here to Orlando and created Rosie O'Grady's and Church Street Station.
Which is all gone now, but had a roaring run.
But it was the third or fourth biggest attraction in Central Florida.
Well, let's talk about you.
No.
You have made no secret through the years that you
Okay.
battled addiction. The years that you've been, I always talk to people about this. Well, Danny Treanor, a big drinker. Well, he was,
Yeah.
but Danny's been stone cold sober 30 years now?
31.
31. So
Yeah.
you have the buttons, you have the pins.
Yeah.
You were in a program where you've made it through.
Sure.
And I just wanted to speak to that for a moment because I consider that one of the. I know it helped destroy part of your life earlier.
Sure.
But I consider it part of your great story that you come all the way back, and there is, I think, encouragement for other people who may be battling the same battle or fighting those kind of fights.
I hope so.
That there's another day. So just if you could address that for just a moment. You don't have to go long. Just
No. Oh, well,
you fought your way back.
Sure. Well, the first thing was I was never aware that I had a problem because my life was going along very nicely. I had a lot of accolades. I was being paid very well. I had a house. I had family. I had everything was just fine, but I was losing me. And there were times when I would be so possibly over a new. I would not be real sober going to work in the morning, but I didn't realize it, and so it took some outside forces to say that doesn't look right, and it was the management. And talking about identifying yourself with your job, it was the threat of my job
It finally made you clear.
that made me say, "Oh, I better pay attention to this."
Well, God bless you, because other people go lower. People
Yes.
do lose a job, lose their teeth, lose their health, lose everything.
There's a program that's very well known in this world that they only dealt with bottom people who were in the hospital dying because they would grasp onto the idea of there is a solution, and they would grab on it with the for life. And so people like myself who would be in denial because I'm going, well, my life isn't unmanageable. Look at this. Look at what I have, So I could lie to myself. And
But
that's
you've turned the big corners, and you've made it back for 30 years.
Right. But it was only because I dedicated myself. First of all, I had to admit. When you admit something, you have an opportunity to correct it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't admit it, it doesn't exist.
Just for the record, Danny and I have never discussed this publicly before.
No.
So this is the first time ever.
Right.
I'm glad you're comfortable with it.
But you have to admit it because to admit a problem is to attempt, not an attempt. There's not a try. There is only a do. Do it. Commit yourself and change. Because let me tell you, my world has become so unbelievably fantastic because of it. And I learned how to live life. I didn't have the book. Evidently, the rule book got lost before I got it. And I didn't learn. And by the way, many of the 12-step programs are like the one I'm involved in. Drinking is only like the first 3 steps. The rest of it is about learning how to live life on life's terms, accepting things, not thinking you're all powerful and that you know everything, and acknowledging the fact that sometimes it's okay to ask for help.
Okay. Let's talk about you today.
Okay.
You've been a busy man. I tell people all the time that Danny doesn't drink, but he eats, and Danny
Yes, he does.
travels.
Yeah.
If I go out to have dinner and I come back, I better know how my meal was prepared, what chives were in it, were there onions in it, how they bake it, because Danny, those are the questions he's going to ask. But let's talk about, so you're dining wherever you go, and you're also traveling all the time.
Yes.
You mentioned the first part of the news, this show, that a trip to overseas turned you on to traveling as an outlet. Where have you been lately? Because people are, where's Danny? I said, well, he's somewhere in Europe, or he's somewhere. Where have you been?
Right. Okay. Well, about 4 weeks ago, I was at the top of Machu Picchu.
That's in Peru.
Yes, after doing a 25-day trip around the exterior of South America.
Okay.
On a cruise line known for food, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're showing pictures right now. Where's that? Is that
This is from the top of Machu Picchu.
Did you hike up there? Do you get a
You don't have a choice. Once you land in Cusco, it's a 2-hour drive by car to get to the place where you get on the train. That you now travel 1 hour and 45 minutes by train to go to a town that has no cars, where you get on a bus to go to the top of the mountain, where you get to the entrance.
Wow.
Then it's 400 steps up to the top of the mountain.
And you hiked them all?
I did. I had not well, but I did all of them.
No helicopter ride to the top?
No.
Oh, look, there's a llama.
There's a no-fly zone, and that's, by the way, that's Marianne Stead, my travel partner, and we go. Yeah, and she and I met in Greece on a trip from the church.
They were on their way to greener pastures.
She said she'd like to travel. I said I'd like to travel. So we said, let's do it. And so we've been to we went to Oberammergau for the Passion Play in Germany. It's done once every 10 years. We did that. We went through the Panama Canal. We went on safari in Africa.
Did you really?
Yep. I even have some pictures we'll show you here in a second.
All right.
Some of the animals.
Oh, is that a leopard?
The leopard. Yep. One of the big 5.
You're a big cat guy. You love cats, right?
Oh yeah. I love my exotic cats.
Mm-hmm. You're like.
Yeah, I used to have a bunch of them.
Oh, what was that guy's name on the Tiger King? Joe somebody.
Yeah, not him. No, not him.
Okay.
No.
What's his name? Jonathan? Joe Exotic. You're
Joe
Danny Exotic.
Yeah.
I love that. Danny Exotic.
No.
Okay, what's this? That's a shower?
This is an outdoor shower at the tent. By the way, this tent is
very
1,400 square feet,
looks very
air
down home to me.
conditioned. It has an open bar.
It's
it has
air
a plunge pool. It has it has hot and cold running baboons that try to open your door and steal cookies out of your thing and try to steal your luggage.
Does it say Thorny Bush on the truck?
Yes, it's Thorny Bush. That's the name of the area that we were in, and it was spectacular, more than spectacular, and the temperatures were only like about 70 degrees, so it was very comfortable. We go out every morning around 4 o'clock, and then we'd see animals, and then we come back and we'd have a gourmet lunch and a nap, and then we go back out at 4
and where
o'clock.
was I? Oh, I was in the studio in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
So let's just answer everybody's questions. Where's Danny Treanor? It's trying to find him. Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
And how is Danny Treanor? You're doing well.
Yeah, I'm going to Ireland and Iceland next, followed by New England and Canada in the fall to see the flowers and the
Where are you going to Canada?
I will go up the St. Lawrence Seaway.
I go to Quebec City.
Yeah,
And then
Quebec.
Montreal.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I'm going to Japan.
Living my dream. That's my goal, is to make it to Japan.
Don't work until you're too old.
Well, you didn't. All right, brother. Then I'm going to let you travel. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Danny Treanor, my special guest and my buddy. Thank you for coming in, man.
It's a mercy booking.
It was great. It was not. It was an in-demand
Is this a job interview?
No, this is a wave
Good.
bye, Danny.
Good.
We'll see you on Talk to Tom, and always on
Hey,
News 6 Plus.
The next hurricane, pick out somebody and stay with them.